Wealth Attraction Research. WAR, War. Financial Fairness. Wealth Attraction Research. WAR, War. Financial Fairness. You're listening to Wealth Attraction Research, War, WAR, Financial Fairness, presented by Hakeem Alibokis Alexander on Spreaker, Social Podcasting, and Wisdom, Social Audio Inc., presented for World Reading Club in association with ExercisingYourMind.com and Uniquilibrium. This edition's reading focus comes to us from the Little Book of Economics and How Money Works, and is sponsored by blogdealer.com, where you'll find lots of goodies in health, fitness, and fat reduction, things that lots of people are looking for. So check out blogdealer.com, blogdealer.com, and you'll have a plethora of links there that you can browse through various different products. The titles of those links will give you a brief description of what's going on there. I'm starting first with the Little Book of Economics. I'm here at a Barnes & Noble's bookstore, so you might hear some of the sounds, and I also changed my microphone setup from what I had before on the previous episode where I read Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. It was book 3, chapter 1, the only chapter in that book. And my voice was a little bit quieter there. This still might pick up some more of the background noise here, but that's okay. I think that my voice comes in clearer when I have this mic set up here that I'm using now. But we'll see. It's always an experiment with me here when I'm doing these on the go, mobile podcasting from wherever I may be. So this first reading from the Little Book of Economics is from the section titled "Make One Person Better Off Without Hurting the Others: Efficiency and Fairness." That's what I'm going to start with first. Then I'm going to finish off with Financial Institutions from How Money Works. And these are both very short, so this should be a real quick one as well. So, make one person better off without hurting the others: efficiency and fairness in the Little Book of Economics. So in context, the focus is welfare economics. The key thinker is Vilfredo Pareto, who lived from 1848 to 1923. Before his time, oh look at that, 1776, Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations relates self-interest to social welfare. 1871, British economist William Jevons says that value depends entirely on utility. That's actually something Adam Smith talked about two different kinds of value. One which was the value of usefulness, and the other type of value is in trade value or exchange value. Like, for example, water has a high use value, especially in modern times, right? But very little value in trade, although that might change if we were in some kind of Mad Max situation. And diamonds have a high exchange value, but very little use value, although in modern times that might be a little bit different as well, simply because of the fact that diamonds are used in technology and industry and things like that. So, besides being all bling bling. All right, so let's continuing. So then we've got 1874. French economist Leon Walras uses equations to determine the overall equilibrium of an economy. That was actually the section that I read before from this book. It was called Economic Equilibrium: A System of Free Markets is Stable. That was the previous reading of the Little Book of Economics and How Money Works. And then after Vilfredo Pareto's time, in 1930 to 1950, John Hicks, Paul Samuelson, and others used Pareto optimality as the basis of modern welfare economics. John Hicks, Paul Samuelson, and others used Pareto optimality as the basis of modern welfare economics. And finally, in 1954, U.S. economist Kenneth Arrow and French economist Gerard Debreu used mathematics to show a connection between free markets and Pareto optimality. All those guys were covered before in the previous chapter on economic equilibrium. Okay, here we go. In the 19th century, a group of British philosophers known as the utilitarians introduced the idea that the happiness of individuals can be measured and added up or aggregated. Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto disagreed. In his Manual of Political Economy, he introduced a weaker definition of social welfare that has come to dominate modern economics. His argument is based on a ranking of relative happiness known as ordinal utility, rather than an absolute measurement of happiness, cardinal utility. Pareto said that individuals know their own preferences and will do what suits them best. If everyone follows their own tastes, constrained as they are by the obstacles they face, society will soon reach a point where no one can be made better off without hurting someone else. This state is known as Pareto optimality or Pareto efficiency. And there's a little flow chart here again, a little rectangular boxes. The top starts with, a government wants to improve the welfare of its people. But individual welfare is unmeasurable in absolute, not relative terms. A reasonable aim would be to reach a state of Pareto efficiency, where each individual trades to improve their own welfare, until they reach a compromise or equilibrium where you can't make one person better off without hurting others. Continuing, Pareto efficiency. Suppose a couple named Jane and John both like rice. If we have a sack of rice, any division of it between them, even one where one person gets all the rice, would be optimal, because only taking rice away from a person is said to hurt them. In this way, Pareto efficiency is different from fairness. In most situations, there are many goods and tastes. For instance, if John likes rice but not chicken, and Jane likes chicken but not rice, an allocation in which John had everything would be Pareto inefficient. A transfer of chicken from John to Jane would help Jane without hurting John. Often, preferences aren't so clear-cut. Both might like chicken and rice, but to different degrees. In that case, Jane and John can exchange just small amounts of chicken and rice until an optimal allocation emerges. We have a little graph here that's labeled on the two axes here. Going vertically, we have quantity of flowers, and horizontally, we have quantity of vegetables. And there's a little arrow pointing to the Pareto frontier, and it's labeled Pareto efficiency can be used to determine efficient production. If two people own a garden and one prefers flowers while the other prefers vegetables, the garden can be planted with flowers, vegetables, or a combination of both. Any point on the Pareto frontier, such as B or C, is Pareto efficient. Any point under the line, such as A, is inefficient. Any point under the line, which is inefficient. Let me go ahead and give a quick posting here to Facebook, and just simply call it financial fairness. I'm going to say wealth attraction research, war, and we're going to call it financial fairness real quick. Come on, little arrows. Financial fairness. There we go. Come on. All right. Financial fairness. All right. Financial fairness. That's what we're going on here. There we go. All right. That'll do. That's enough of that posting right there. Okay. Thank you very much, Spreaker, for allowing me to post that there. Okay, so then we're going to continue. We can all agree, using Pareto efficiency reduces the need to judge between conflicting interests. Avoiding such judgments is the hallmark of positive economics, describing how things are, as opposed to normative economics, describing how they should be. Pareto argued that free markets are efficient in his sense of the term. This formalized Adam Smith's idea that self-interest and free market competition operate for the common good. Interesting. Yeah, Adam Smith has been influencing economics for a long time. So that formula. So this thing about Pareto agreed that free markets are efficient in this sense of the term. So it reduces the need to judge between conflicting interests. Avoiding such judgments is the hallmark of positive economics, describing how things are, as opposed to normative economics, describing how they should be. And that formalized Adam Smith's idea of self-interest and free market competition operate for the common good. And finally, we have a feature of Mr. Adam Smith here. Mr. Vilfredo Pareto. I'm stuck on Adam Smith. He's so influential in so many of these different sections here of both the books, How Money Works and the Little Book of Economics, that I'm about to complete right now. Vilfredo Pareto. Born in France in 1848, Vilfredo Pareto was the son of an Italian marquis and a French mother. The family moved to Italy when he was 4, and Pareto was schooled in Florence, then in Turin, where he acquired a PhD in engineering. While working as a civil engineer, he became interested in economics and free trade. In 1893, he was recommended by his friend, the Italian economist Maffeo Pantaleoni, to succeed Leon Walras to the chair of political economy at the University of Lausanne in Switzerland. He took up the post at the age of 45, and it was there that he made his major contributions to the field, including his theories on income distribution. Pareto continued to teach until 1911. His works were prolific, covering sociology, philosophy, and mathematics, as well as economics. He died in Geneva in 1923. And his key works, we have the 1897 Course of Political Economy, the 1906 Manual of Political Economy, and in 1911, Mathematical Economics. Phew, great, good time. So now I'm done with that good old Little Book of Economics, which is efficiency and fairness. Make one person better off without hurting others. I like it. People, I've heard some people really going in hard against Adam Smith, but the guy really didn't seem that bad. I mean, I guess a lot of people who like to consider themselves socialist or communist, get really angry at Adam Smith for being the father, basically, of modern economics. I mean, capitalism and economics, in a lot of ways. But the interesting thing, like I was reading in the previous Wealth Attraction Research installment on Spreaker, for World Reading Club, that he said some really interesting things that he really wasn't, it didn't seem like, at least in his writing, a bad guy. People were mad at him, but like, for example, one thing he said in the last thing that I read, he said, the capital of the landlord, on the contrary, which is fixed in the improvement of his land, seems to be as well secured as the nature of human affairs can admit. The beauty of the country besides, the pleasure of a country life, the tranquility of mind which it promises. And this is the part, he says, and wherever the injustice of human laws does not disturb it. He calls human laws unjust. Because wherever the injustice of human laws does not disturb it, the independency which it really affords have charms that more or less attract everybody. And as to cultivate the ground was the original destination of man, so in every stage of his existence he seems to retain a predilection for this primitive employment. Yeah, he hits it. And again, I keep repeating that true wealth is I say that great health is the truest of all wealth. But that goes back to the other point of value in wealth, which is that real wealth is the produce of the land and the labor of humankind, the things that we can do with that raw or rude produce. Okay, so now I'm going to continue and finish off with How Money Works. And this is also a short section. It's titled Financial Institutions, and it starts off with this long paragraph here. It says, around the globe, money moves between banks, businesses, governments, organizations, and individuals, crossing time zones, continents, and cultures. At the heart of the global financial systems are the banks, hedge funds, pension funds, and insurance companies that hold and invest the world's money. Without the liquidity that banks provide, organizations and individuals would find it hard to borrow or save money, invest in existing businesses, or start up new businesses. So you say, how money works? Let's continue and see what details they have that might be useful, if any at all. I find this book to be sometimes mostly boring, but I'm going to get through it anyway because I've been learning a lot from it anyway. Alright, so first of all, this is the bane of most people's existence. This first part here says services and fees. Services and fees. Yeah, yikes. Alright, services and fees. Financial institutions make money primarily by lending out cash at a higher interest rate than the one they are paying to their depositors. They also make money by, and that's right, interestingly enough, when people borrow money, the interest rates are higher than when you save money. So sometimes that changes, but that's usually how it goes. Financial institutions make money primarily by lending out cash at a higher interest rate than the one they are paying to their depositors. They also make money by investing the cash entrusted to them by customers and by buying and selling assets for clients and charging a fee for this service. They lose money when debts are not repaid or only partially repaid, or in the event that they make the wrong investment decision. So then we have a section down here on these beautiful images, because How Money Works is subtitled The Facts Visually Explained, so you're not seeing this here, but let me do my best to describe what we have here in imagery. So starts with public and investors. And we see the investment. So receives interest on loans which it invests. This is the bank, I suppose. Non-bank financial institution. Does not have a banking license or is not supervised by a banking regulator. May provide banking services but is not allowed to hold deposits from the public. A non-bank financial institution. Does not have a banking license or is not supervised by a banking regulator. May provide banking services but is not allowed to hold deposits from the public. Okay, gives a loan to people. The interest goes back into that non-bank financial institution. Also, let's see, an investment receives premiums which it invests for interest and growth. Here we got an insurance company. Insurance companies and Insurance company insures companies and individuals against named risks, invests premiums, and pays out claims under terms of the policy schedule, required to insure its own risk to prevent collapse. Okay. Then we have a commercial bank investment. It invests cash from deposits and interest payments. So it invests cash from deposits and interest payments. Commercial bank provides financial services to businesses and deals in large transactions, providing loans, mortgages, and savings products. And then a brokerage. A brokerage enables individuals or companies to buy or sell financial instruments, brings buyers and sellers together, matching them so that a trade can take place. And all along the bottom here, there's a bunch of interesting stuff going on in imagery. I don't even know if I can describe that properly. Finally, we have an investment bank. It profits from brokerage and corporate advisory roles. An investment bank underwrites businesses and new share issues, brings companies to market, arranges mergers, and offers corporate brokerage services. And finally, there's a box here titled Interrelated Institutions. The worldwide markets are all interconnected and rely on each other. A shock in one market can have an adverse effect in another. When Greece was renegotiating its debt write-off, the European stock markets were negatively affected, especially when it seemed as if Greece might leave the euro. Fears that the Chinese economy was slowing down fed into fears about global market growth. that's also something that might be happening now, even though they're doing that whole BRICS thing, right? The Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa group, the BRICS group. And finally, we have the result of the Brexit vote in 2016 led to a sharp drop in the value of the pound, the British pound. They wanted to Brexit. British exits the euro whole system. And finally, there's something that says $639 billion is the value of Lehman Brothers Investment Bank when it filed for bankruptcy in 2008. What? $639 billion was the value of Lehman Brothers Investment Bank when it filed for bankruptcy in 2008. That doesn't make sense to me, but that's what it says. All right. Well, that's it. I mean, I knew it was going to be short. Yay, it's less than 30 minutes. Actually, only 21 minutes so far. So you've been listening to Wealth Attraction Research, WAR, War, Financial Fairness, presented by Hakeem Ali Bokus Alexander on Spreaker, Social Podcasting, and Wisdom, Social Audio Inc., presented for World Reading Club in association with ExercisingYourMind.com and Uniquilibrium. This edition's reading focus has come to us from The Little Book of Economics and How Money Works, both published and compiled by various contributors at Dorling Kinserly. And this podcast has also been sponsored by blogdealer.com. We will find lots of products on health, fitness, and fat reduction. Yeah, I think that's it. Am I done? I feel like I'm missing something because it's so quick. That's crazy. But that's it. I'm good. I'm good to go, I think. I don't know what to do with myself right now except to go do some more work elsewhere. Oh, yeah. Put my bookmark in here for the next section that's coming up: commercial and mortgage banks and how money works. I don't know. I find the Little Book of Economics so much more fascinating. And also The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. But hey, that's what it is. That's how it is. And we're out. So until next time.